Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another Sheffield United match reaction on the channel. A little bit more positive than the last one, if I'm being completely honest. However, the last one I did, the match reaction to the Reading game, I can't remember too much of, and I daren't even watch it back because I had a little bit too much to drink and went live. That's never, ever a good combination. Anyway, in this game, there were lots of good combinations with the Blades. We played some fantastic football today. We really, really did. And I'm going into this match reaction quite positive, because the Blades were by far better than the Reading game. It was really good to watch at times. I know we were without a striker, and I know that if that striker was put in there, we'd have to take one of those midfield players out who kind of ran the show in there. So it's one of them. Obviously, Spain do it. Barcelona's done it, I believe, in the past, where you play a central midfielder up front. Man City tend to do it quite a lot. I don't think we're quite at those levels, but we were certainly a lot better than we were against Reading, like I said. So we started brighter, like I said, like we were by far the better team. I do think we dominated for large parts of this game without not without really creating many chances. I'm recency bias here. I'm thinking too much of the second half. The first half, we had so many great opportunities, two to be absolute nailed on ones. So anyway, we'll get there though. So we started the better. We'll pass it around a lot quicker. We're getting forward, but I think they had a couple of better chances early on. I think Chris Martin headed over the bar. I believe there was another one that flashed just wide. I've picked up the first Blades chance, Norwood on the 6th minute, scuffing a half volley wide. Now, Norwood had a lot more shots today. A lot of our players had a few more shots today than they usually would from further out. Sander Berge had one later on in the half. I've got it down on the 17th minute where he skipped past a player and then he dragged it wide a little bit. But it was a good effort. The goalkeeper had to dive across the goal to make sure it wasn't going in that bottom corner. But I want to see more shots from Sander Berge. That is what I want to see. Norwood's obviously scored a goal recently against QPR, which wasn't exactly from distance, but it was further out than most of our goals anyway. Just kind of, I think it was just inside the box. But I want to see more of these long distance shots because they can go anywhere. They can hit defenders. The goalkeeper can make a save. They can hit your own attackers. They can go anywhere. And actually, yeah, they can just fly in the top corner, which we'd like to see happen more often. And actually, Morgan Gibbs-White really early on fired one way over the bar when he was trying to find that top corner from when a corner got knocked back out to him. But on the 10th minute, this was a fantastic move. And die pass into Morgan Gibbs-White. He steps over it. Fleck plays him in. That reminded me of that Bogle Fleck sort of interplay against Birmingham away. Lovely ball in from Fleck to Morgan Gibbs-White. And the goalkeeper makes a great save, you've got to admit. Really long legs stretching out to stop that from going into the bottom corner. I know it's easy to say after the fact, but it just needed him to put a bit of height on it. And again, I know it's easy to say when you've seen what's happened with the attempt. But yeah, it's a good effort. It's a very, very nice bit of play. Good effort, good save. It was only in the 10th minute. And as I always think, I hope that's not our best chance in the whole game. And it wasn't, but it was a very, very good chance. But again, that 17th minute, Sander Berge has a shot that just goes wide. In the 28th minute, Morgan Gibbs-White gets a free kick right on the edge of the box. I think it was closer, absolutely piles through him. Like he goes to flick it on and he smashes through the back of him. Now, I don't get how that is not a yellow card, but some of the other cynical ones are, where it's just like trying to nick the ball and they miss it. And it's like, maybe not cynical, maybe that's the wrong word. But I do remember, I think it was Bash, just tried to clip the ball away from their man. He wasn't stopping him from kind of going through on goal. And he gets booked. And it's like, is that really a booking? And then Closer comes in and powers through Gibbs-White's back. And he gets nothing. But we get a free kick. The free kick isn't great from 𝐍𝐶_𝐲. Now, I've seen him on YouTube for, I think it is it Wolves or was it Swan? No, I'm pretty sure it was Wolves scoring free kicks before. I've definitely seen him score free kicks. So I want to see 𝐍𝐶_𝐲 take more free kicks, but it wasn't the best one on 29. It hit the wall, but it kind of screws out wide, and the goalkeeper comes out to try and grab it. I think he kind of misjudges it and then has to kind of drop it. I don't know who it was, whether it was Norwood or Fleck or someone like that, but they fire it in, try to get something out of it. Nothing comes of it. But I'm trying to think what happened there. Yes, it was straight after that. Norwood flicks the ball over for Baldock. It came literally straight after it, pretty much. And Bentley comes flying out. Baldock just flicks the ball over Bentley. There's no one there to be seen. And that's the problem when you've got no recognised striker on the pitch. There's no one kind of milling around waiting for something to drop. And yeah, it was just one of them things. But Baldock did really well to get into that really, really good position. And he was unlucky not to finish that. I think it was a bit difficult then. Probably a half chance, you would say. But the goalkeeper is rubbish. This Bentley guy is rubbish. I've seen him loads in the past. Did he used to play for Brentford, maybe? I want to say Brentford. I don't think it was Bournemouth. I always get Brentford and Bournemouth mixed up. I think he played for Brentford. I've always thought he was rubbish. And he comes out and Baldock, I don't think he is. I think it's more 60-40 in Bentley's favour. And Bentley kind of just stands off and let Baldock go for it. And yeah, like I say, flicks it round him, but nobody in there to put the ball in the back of the net. Now, 41st minute. This is a big, big chance because there's two chances within one here. So Sander Berge, the ball gets played out to Sander Berge on the wing. For some reason, Bentley is miles out of his goal again. Sander rounds him and then kind of just steps off and just kind of, I don't know, just wastes a little bit of time on the wing. I want him to kind of bring it in a little bit more, but he stood there waiting and waiting and waiting. The goalkeeper, he gets the ball into the box before the goalkeeper gets back into his goal, but there's no one really in there. But then it's lovely play, and Stevens finds 𝐍𝐶_𝐲, but he blazes over the bar in a one-on-one. But there was some fantastic play before that, before Stevens manages to find 𝐍𝐶_𝐲. 𝐍𝐶_𝐲 does really well to get away from his man. And then Stevens, he found himself in kind of right in the middle of the goal quite a lot, Stevens, today. And that's where our goal came from. But great ball into 𝐍𝐶, and 𝐍𝐶 has got all the time in the world to just have a look at the goal, pick his spot and put it there. And he blazes it over the bar. This is the biggest chance of the game for me. I think this is possibly bigger than our actual goal, because he's got all the goal to aim at. The keeper's running out, getting down low, and really just needs a little bit of composure just to clip it over him. I think he knew that the goalkeeper would have been running at him and spreading himself. So keep your head up, find a corner or flick it over him or something. Just keep your composure. And he really, really didn't in that moment. And that's when we really, really needed it. On the 45th minute, right on half time, Stevens gets put through, and Stevens has got a great shot on him, as we saw later on. But I've seen Stevens fire that ball into that bottom corner many, many times. And on that angle, he got put through, but he just scuffed it wide a little bit. And yeah, apparently Stevens hasn't scored for like 2 years, which I find it hard to believe, especially how good he was. And how many he scored in like the end of the championship season before we got promoted. I know he scored against Norwich. I know he scored against Brighton in the Premier League first season. I just can't believe that he's not scored for like 2 years or whatever the commentator said. But then we go into half time. I think that the Blades have been the better side by far. And really, they didn't catch us on the break too much in the first half. I wasn't too worried in that first half of them catching us on the break, but that certainly changed in the second half. It was like a basketball game. It was constantly going back and forth, back and forth. And on the 49th minute, this is exactly what happened, because the ball's played into the box. Jack Robinson's coming in late. It's like a Frankie Lampard-esque run. It's perfectly on his head. All he needs to do is direct the ball. It's got the power on it. All he needs to do, find that corner, and he can't quite find the corner. It goes straight at the goalkeeper. It was a good connection, just wasn't placed in the right into the corner, which was unfortunate. And then unfortunate turns into just despair because the goalkeeper, I think he boots the ball upfield, and Bash, he didn't have a good game for me, Bash. I think he's been brought back too early. I don't know what's happened with 𝐍𝐸𝐕𝐏𝐍, but Bash, he wasn't ready. I don't think, maybe he's not been brought back too soon. Maybe it's more the fact that he's just not kind of match fit, if you like. He's not up to the speed of the game just yet, but he will be. We all know how good Bash is. But yeah, quite a few times he got caught in possession. He got the ball nicked off him a few times. He took a booking for a tackle that maybe he didn't need to put in. And this one wasn't a good one. This was not vintage Bash. But I feel like in his head, he was trying to flick this ball over the over Semenyo, and it just all went wrong. I don't think he realised where the attacker was. He nicks the ball off Bash as he's trying to, like I said, I think it was clip it over his head, as we've seen Bash do a million times before. But he's really just got to put the ball out of play, Ante. Now, even Neil Warnock said that at half time. Full time. Neil Warnock would have been going mental on the sidelines if he was managing Bash there. But Neil Warnock called us Sheffield again. So we don't care what Neil Warnock says, really. Yeah, it was really poor from Bash. Not like what we'd expect from Bash, but you've got to expect it from somebody that's been out for quite a while and he's coming back, and I just want to see Bash play every game. So yeah, he certainly in that second half was getting more and more and more forward, which that's where we want to see Chris Basham. But yeah, let us down a little bit on there, but we'll let him off because he's going to be a big part of the rest of the season, and it's certainly tight up there. It really is. But no, the ball's squared to Chris Martin, puts it away like a vintage Billy Sharp, or you could say a vintage Chris Martin, because he's not a bad striker himself. But apparently that was his first goal against Sheffield United in 8 times that he's played against us, which is quite nice to say that we've foiled him 7 times before that. But yeah, it's a great finish. Wes has got no idea where the ball's going. The ball's coming across and he's just got to make a decision, and he goes that way. But that's what strikers do. The ball comes into them. They pretend to play it one way. They put it in. He puts it in the other corner. Like I say, no chance. Egan's not really got a chance there. What does he do? Does he go to the man? Does he stay in the box? Because if he flies out to the man, it's easier for him to play the ball into the box for the striker. But if he pulls off, then the attacker's just going to bring it in, and it gives him an easier chance of scoring anyway. So Egan's in a little bit of no man's land there, which I don't really think it's his fault. Nobody expect Bash to lose that where he did. So yeah, it was gutting because we were by far the best team at that point, and I know it was just after half time, but we started off again like a steam train. Like we nearly scored before they scored, so it was good to see anyway. It really was good to see. But after this, I think they really came into it more, and they caught us on the break loads of times. I'm not sure whether their goal was the first time they caught us on the break in that second half, but after that it was loads, and they could have gone 2 or 3 nil up if they'd have made better of their chances that they had. But Wes made one good save from Chris Martin where he hit it from distance, really, you might say. I think it was outside the 18-yard box anyway, which he quite comfortably made the save. But we were still going for it, and that's why they were catching us on the break. And it was nice to see. It was nice. It reminded me of vintage Chris Wilder, to be honest. In that League One season, if we'd gone 1-0 down, we'd just keep piling everyone forward. And then, like, Jake Wright would be left at the back on his own, or someone like that, or Stayman in the Championship, or even John Egan, because that's how we played under Chris Wilder. And it was actually quite nice to see how many men was going forward. And yeah, we're getting caught on the break occasionally, but it just gives you more chance of scoring. And I know my lifetime will be cut short if we keep playing like we did tonight, but it is really exciting because that Reading game, I don't feel like we really created many chances at all, and we had pretty much all the ball. So, yeah, it was nice to see how good we were in possession today. We created loads of chances, especially in that first half. And then this brings me on to talking about the goal for us. So in the 60th minute, Sander Berger's got it on that right-hand side. He had it on that right-hand side a lot today, but I wasn't massively a fan of Sander Berger today. I think a lot of times he got caught on the ball. He was jogging around. He wasn't getting back quick enough. But at this point, he gets the ball on the right-hand side. He plays it into a great area. Again, Stevens right in the middle of the box. It's great to see. It's great to see our wing-backs getting really, really high up. And we've not seen that in the last few games, I don't feel. But the ball comes into Ender Stevens. He gets it out of his feet, tries to curl the ball into the far corner where there's a goalkeeper and a defender stood. The goalkeeper makes the save, but unluckily, it hits the defender and just bobbles up perfectly for Morgan Gibbs-White to scissor kick it into the back of the net. Fantastic to see. It's one of them where he went up for the scissor kick and I was like, oh no, what's he doing? Just either head it in or wait for it to come down and volley it in. But it was done expertly by the absolute legend that is Morgan Gibbs-White in the back of the net. And then he's celebrating in front of the fans. And I'm like, get back, get back. I know it's only the 60th minute, but I'm like, get back. We need a win. We need to win this game. But it wasn't to be. It wasn't to be. That's how it finished. 1-1. No more goals in this game. But Naki Wells hit the ball wide when they kind of flew forward. We had Will Asula having a shot from distance, you'd have to say, outside the 18-yard box with his left foot. I'm pretty sure he's right-footed as well. So maybe that wasn't the right idea. But imagine if Will Asula had just curled the ball into the top corner, 2-1, ran away, celebrating. That would have been his life made, everyone's life made. That would have been fantastic. But yeah, he possibly should have passed the ball, but he definitely saw his name in lights. But yeah, we had a lot of the ball, a lot of little flicks through that just didn't quite get to a man in the middle of the box. A couple of half shots that were blocked, but nothing really too exciting other than that. It was exciting football, just we didn't take our chances in the first half, and in the second half, we didn't really create a really, really clear-cut chance like we did in the first half. So that was pretty sad to see. But yeah, it's 1-1. The Blades are still in a decent position, but we've got some tough games coming up. So Cardiff, that is going to be one of the easier games, you would say, but we probably would have said that about Reading. So I do think that Cardiff is a must-win game at home, because after that, we've got to go to QPR, which, yeah, it was a comfortable win at home, but they're not going to want to give up without a fight getting into the playoffs, because it is all up for grabs. Because Middlesbrough lost today. God, it feels so long today. Middlesbrough lost today against someone. Middlesbrough lost to Huddersfield, that's it. Blackburn lost. But Millwall are looking like dark horses in to nab that 6th place. I do feel like Forest are going to be out of it. Huddersfield are going to be out of it. When I say out of it, I mean out of that little melee at the bottom. They're in there. They're in the playoffs. And I do actually think that Luton's got themselves in the playoffs now. I think that's probably enough for them to stay in the playoffs. So it looks like there's one place between us, Millwall, Borough, Blackburn. I'm not sure how far Coventry are off. But there's a lot of at QPR. There's a lot of teams vying for that spot. And if one team wins the rest of their games, then they may get in. This is how close it is. Now, there's only 3 games or something. This between probably 2 and 7 points, maybe 2 and 5 points between the next kind of block of teams. So all it needs is a team to fly through. And the thing is, we have got Billy Sharp coming back very soon. And I think if Billy Sharp's in that game today, we do score another goal and we do win that game. But I do think I will give a big shout out before I go to Will Asula. I thought Will Asula was fantastic when he came on. Massive, massive shout out to Will Asula, because he held that ball up fantastically tonight. He's very gangly, he's very leggy, but Yeah, very, very well done at holding that ball up. He reminded me of Jebo from last season. No, really liked him coming on and doing what he did. It would have been nice to see him grab a goal at the end, but his link-up play wasn't bad. And like I said, he was holding that ball. Big, strong lad. A better performance, and Asula looked promising when he came on. Bash can be excused for his mistake, given that he only just came back from knee injury. Bang on. Absolutely bang on. Luke says Stevens just seems not quite give it that last 5% more than anything that he does. We need a prolific goal scorer other than Billy Sharp. Yeah, I agree with everything that you're saying, Luke. Definitely. Guess you didn't go then. I didn't go to this one. No, like I'm working tomorrow morning and I've got a lot on at work, so it wasn't to be today for me. But yeah, I would have been going if it wasn't for the time of the game. But this match reaction would have been probably 12 o'clock at night if I did go. So you've got me. 5 wins in the last 15, no wins in the last 6 away games. How the hell are we still in the playoffs? Because everybody else is just as bad as us, Sean. They really are. 𝐍𝐸𝐲 gave a great performance today. Do you know what? I thought he did well, but I don't quite think that he was earlier on in the season more than 𝐍𝐸𝐲. I think in that first half there were a lot of loose touches. They certainly were pressing him really high, and he didn't know what to do with it quite a lot of the time. But he's the best player that we've got, and he can just do something sensational. And I'm glad he's on our team anyway. Dominated in the first half. I'm not sure about that. I think we had a lot of the second half. I think Bristol City really just played on the break. I think that's what I would say anyway. I think Baldock and Stevens are not doing enough. I think you're right, Darren. And how's it going, Darren? Yeah, I think you're possibly right. I think Baldock, I do think that Bogle will come straight back in there next season once he's fit. I just think that Baldock just doesn't do enough in that final third, and he must try hard because I know how much of a professional he is. It just doesn't come off for him. So I think Bogle will be back in there. Stevens, I do think that Stevens is coming back from injury still, so I think we can excuse him for a few more weeks. But I still think that Stevens is better than Norrington Davis and Osborne down that left-hand side. Played better with Bash in the team. Morgan Gibbs-White was immense. Wow, a lot of people giving 𝐍𝐸𝐲 a massive shout out. I love 𝐍𝐸𝐲 to bits, don't get me wrong, but I think he could have been better today. It's easy said than done because I thought Sander Berger was awful. I thought 𝐸𝐸𝐸 was decent enough. 𝐍𝐸𝐲 was definitely the best player. Absolutely definite. Darren again, young lad up top did well in the time he had. He definitely did. I liked him away at Stoke as well. He was definitely getting stuck in and giving him some to the defenders, and really gave more at the end of that Stoke game than Jebo did all game for me. If Billy wasn't injured, you have to think that someone as experienced as him would have been in the right positions to receive some of the crosses. Yeah, absolutely. And do you know what? I feel like there's so many good experienced strikers that we could have tried to have signed in January. Do you know, just someone on a free or someone on loan until the end of the season, knowing that we are kind of struggling in a lot of areas. But yeah, whatever. Egan was bad today. I don't think he was bad per se. I just think we got caught out a lot at the back because we were flying forward all the time. It's just one of them things, isn't it? There we go. Last thing, no, I mean, you dominated in the first half. We did dominate in the first half. I thought you were talking about the title because I put we were dominated, but we weren't clinical enough. But yeah, I think we dominated all the way through the game, to be honest. I think we didn't dominate as much in the second half. The first half was all us. The second half, we were still the better team for me, but we did get caught on the break way too much, and it could have been a cricket score at one point. Anyway, let's leave it there. Thank you very much for watching all. I really appreciate you being here. Before you go, make sure you like this video because it really, really helps the channel out a hell of a lot. So, yeah, thank you very much for watching. Hopefully, we're going to go to we're going to welcome Cardiff and not welcome them too much, and stick 2 or 3 goals past them, and take 3 points. We're in a fantastic position still, but we have got some big games coming up. So hopefully the Blades can go back to kind of the Borough performances that we put in, and the West Brom performance, and see if we can get ourselves into this into the actual playoffs. It's going to be tough. In the playoffs, we could be seen as the worst team in the playoffs as well, with how well everybody else is doing. But yeah, you never know. Once you get into those playoffs, anything can happen. Thanks for watching. See you next time.